We're on. Good evening, everyone. So, right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm putting this out right now there. I'm putting it out right now. British boots on the ground, one way or another, it's inevitable now. There was a speech earlier from Zelensky, and I mean, look, it's fair play to Zelensky. I've been quite critical of him. I mean, there's this $4 billion that's gone missing. But look, let's be real. What he's saying right now is absolutely true. And what he's also saying is inevitably going to lead to some point British boots on the ground in Ukraine. Now, if you guys have been following the media, that is also going to lead to some sort of conscription. Now, I need to be clear, they're never going to call it conscription, but I can't think of whatever word they use, that's what it is. But it's not going to be conscription, it'll be called something else. But if you are bolstering your military aggressively, what do you call that? Literally, what do you call it? So I'm just going to, I think, Michelle Marshall is saying, hello, all the peeps. Right, listen, guys. What? I've been restricted. Alcohol? What? I've been restricted already. Your live contains themes that people may find uncomfortable and has been restricted. Alcohol, drugs, and tobacco. Guys, has anyone seen me doing any alcohol, drugs, or tobacco? Where? How? How is this right? Listen, you guys on TikTok, I'm just going to turn you off. I can't, look, Deborah Phillips, Jamie Elliott, Mart, Oasis, Deborah Phillips, Daniel Payne. I mean, I don't have the fire on. Look, guys, you guys on TikTok, I know there's quite a few on. I'm going to continue the live stream on YouTube. I've just been restricted. I don't know why. I'm not drinking. I'm not smoking. I've not consumed anything. I've literally, right. Okay. Look, guys, I'm going to get onto Ukraine in a minute, right? And boots on the ground. But at the bottom of my TikTok page, it says I'm consuming substances featured in this live could damage your health. Look, guys, I'm just putting it out there. Has anyone seen me consume anything? Like, since I've been on the live, have I consumed anything? Ladies and gentlemen on TikTok, I'm going to close you guys down now. I'm making no apologies to the algorithm. If you want to jump over to YouTube, I'm the Real Raven 1 on YouTube. But without it, guys, I bid you good evening. Honestly, that is absolutely gay. What have I been consuming? Anyway, right, we'll turn those guys off. How long was I on for? Like 4 minutes or something? 3 minutes. Hang on, let me read about this. Alcohol, tobacco, and drugs. Regulated consumption of alcohol. Honestly, that is so retarded. I've literally just had I can't even be bothered with those guys anymore. It's ridiculous. Honestly, it's so ridiculous. Said I've been consuming alcohol on the line. I've not even drank anything. I wouldn't mind if I was having a little carbonation. I'd accept it. Right, look, let's forget about that, ladies and gentlemen. Let's move on, because this is a World War III warning. Either way, British troops are going to be deployed on the ground. Whichever scenario you look at right now, there's going to be a deployment of British boots on the ground in Ukraine. I believe it's inevitable. You guys believe it's inevitable because you guys have been watching this live stream, and that is going to lead to some sort of conscription. Conscription, not where, hello, son, you're going to take the Queen's shilling, because we don't have any Queen anymore. Hello, son, you're going to take the King's pound. What? Hey, right? You're in the army now. I don't think that's going to happen. What I think is going to happen is they're going to destroy jobs, destroy culture, destroy people's way of life. So now John, Mick, Fred, Harry, Bob, probably not Mohammed, but those people are going to be struggling. They're going to try to pay the bills. They want to do this, they want to do that. They've got, they maybe got 2 kids, maybe got 3 kids. They've got a wife, they've got a girlfriend, they've got car repayments, they've got a mortgage. Oh God, how am I going to pay everything? I've got no job. If you join the army, and look, when I say this, I do think joining the army is a fantastic career. I really do. I joined the army. I spent a lot of fantastic years in the military. And when I left the military, it opened up so many doors to me. I could literally walk into any job overseas. Unfortunately, I don't get that opportunity in the United Kingdom because they don't need my skills in the United Kingdom. But do you know what? You guys get my skills for absolutely free because I come on here and I give you guys detailed, granular analysis of what is happening in the world. I tell it how it is before it is. That's how Raven rolls. And you know what? I am actually going to get myself a carbonated drink in a second. I'm going to get myself a carbonated drink. Right, let me get Michelle. And Scott Johnson is saying Slava Ukraini, Slava Ukraini, Slava Ukraini. Scott Pew Pew is saying, Sean, you'll be going back first. I can neither confirm nor deny whether I'm already in receipt of military financial assistance. Right, let me get onto my opening monologue, guys. Okay. Let me get onto this, and then I'll jump onto the. You know what? This is what I'm going to do in this order, right? In fact, you know what? I'm going to get myself a drink right now because that TikTok just absolutely wound me up. Honestly, I can't believe I've just been restricted for drinking alcohol when I didn't even drink anything on the live stream. It's phenomenal. Give me 2 seconds. I'm going to try and find a bottle of something. Oh, not that one. Just before we get on to my opening monologue, this is a bottle of cider I made a while ago from actual apples I picked myself. And I don't know if you can see that, but can you see at the bottom there, you get like a sediment layer. Anyway, I'm going to pour myself a drink and I'll come straight back. Oh, look at that lightly carbonated. Look at that lightly carbonated there. That is beautiful. I nailed that. Right. So let's get on to this, guys. This is absolutely bonkers, right? Millie Mono is saying, I love mead. Are you some sort of Viking priestess, Millie Mono? Is Millie Mono some sort of Viking? Right, we'll come on to this afterwards, guys. Let me get my opening monologue done, okay? Let me get my opening monologue done because one way or another, we are going to have British boots on the ground in Ukraine. Now, I'll come on to all the intricacies in 8 minutes. So, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has just stepped off the, well, he's not just, has he? Like an hour ago or something. Jumped off the stage in Davos after a blistering speech at the World Economic Forum. And look, I've been very critical of Zelensky. I think he's on his final hour. There's $4 billion that have gone missing. But what he said was right, okay? He didn't mince his words. He called out Europe, the United Kingdom included, for looking lost, stuck in some endless Groundhog Day loop where we keep saying the right things but do precious little. And he's absolutely right. He slammed leaders for obsessing over how to change Donald Trump instead of stepping up to defend our own backyard. And look, Zelensky, I don't know if he watches my live streams. He may watch my live streams, but how many times have I said those words? Us Europeans need to put our big boy pants on or take them off. Either one, we just need to decide, right? We can take our big boy pants off and say, no, we're going to let the Russians roll over us. Or we can put our big boy pants on and say, thank you very much, the United States. You guys are awesome, but we got this. And that's the like, for me, someone who spent a lot of time in Europe, lots of different countries in Europe, working there, because, you know, I remember speaking to a woman. What was her name? I can't remember her name. It was at my friend's, like, it was like somewhere with my friend, and she was saying that she has been to the Middle East loads, and I was like, so you're an expert on the Middle East? She's like, yeah, I'm a right expert, me, on Middle East. I've been to Dubai twice. Oh, when did you go? Summer holidays with our Chloe. Right? If you're going somewhere on holiday, right, that doesn't make you an expert, right? Trust me. If you've been to Dubai twice on holiday, and you've been to the Al Jumeirah Mall, and you've been to the parks and the beaches, you're not an expert on the Middle East. Maybe India, but certainly not the Middle East. Anyway, so Zelensky is calling out Europe, saying, you know, the Europeans need to step up and protect our own backyard. Europe, he said, needs to wake up, seize frozen Russian assets, cut off their oil money, build proper defenses, and stop pretending NATO and America will always carry the load. And he's absolutely right. He's absolutely right. Do you know why Zelensky is right? Because he's repeating things that I've said previously. Here in Europe, we can either do it or we cannot. We need to stop flim-flammering about this. We're like little chickens. We're like little chickens trying to lay eggs that we don't know how to lay an egg. Stop. Stop asking big bad Donald Trump to help us. Say, thank you very much, Donald. Bro, we got this. If I was in charge, honestly, if I was in charge of the United Kingdom, I would build our empire back within 10 years. We would have the biggest, most ferocious, most powerful empire the world had ever seen. People would look back and they'd have like my picture there with like Genghis Khan for conquerors and Alexander the Great. Yeah, I would be Raven the Great. I would be absolutely Raven the Great. This wasn't just rhetoric. It came straight after his meeting with Trump, where look, guys, and this is just me speculating, right? I'm speculating this here. I've got no inside information on this, right? I'm speculating Trump gave him a speech. I know how these things work, and I bet Trump may or may, but I think Trump or one of Trump's advisors said, "Hey, Zelensky, buddy, I know you want the United States on your side. I think you need to give this speech." Anyway, so Zelensky came out of the meeting with Trump, and it wasn't rhetoric. They apparently nailed down a framework for American security guarantees post-war, and details are still under wraps. I don't know what they are. I don't know if they'll materialize or not. But Zelensky sounded genuinely hopeful that real diplomatic progress could finally end the bloodshed. And there has been so much bloodshed, guys. Like here in the United Kingdom, we see these things on TV. And because we see war movies, I think we're a little bit numb to the horrors, to the absolute horrors. I was driving in, you may be able to find pictures like this on the internet. I was driving through, I need to be very careful what I'm saying here. I was driving through not Donetsk, like maybe Donetsk, I don't know, like the east of Ukraine, right? 26 2015 or 2016 or something. And was going through a place that had been heavily bombarded. And there was something on an electrical cable that it might not have been electrical, like a telegraph pole, the wooden posts, and you get the cables going across them. I don't know what it was. Might have been telecommunications. It might have been power. I don't know. But there was something on it, and I stopped because it looked like a jumper. Because it looked like that, and it was dangling down. I'm not going to tell you what it was, but you guys can use your imagination, right? And if you've seen those horrors of war, you don't want them to continue for either side. Either side. Stop all wars now. They're ridiculous. And there has been a lot of bloodshed. Yet Zelensky warned that without Europe getting serious, putting proper pressure on Putin, PPP, proper pressure Putin, developing air defenses, real tribunals for war crimes. And remember, when we talk about tribunals for war crimes, back in 2022, I was asked if I wanted to be one of the investigators on a war crimes. If I wanted to investigate war crimes, and I'd seen the images, I'd seen the footage from Bucha, Irpin, and Borodyanka. Go and Google what happened to those places. Bucha, Bucha, Irpin, Irpin, Borodyanka. Don't ask me how to spell Borodyanka. It's done. I said yes. Good friend of mine came up to me and he said, Sean, I've been on these investigations, mate. He said, it will destroy your soul. He said, don't do it. I said, what? He said, Sean, honestly, when you go down this rabbit hole, there is no coming back. And he's been down this rabbit hole. I talked to him like a couple of days ago, actually. He's a very good friend of mine. He's been on these investigations where you investigate war crimes, and you go darker, you go deeper, you get access to state-sponsored intelligence. You can find out all sorts of dark shit. You have to listen to telephone phone calls. You have to listen to transcriptions. You have to see intercepted video messages, photo messages. It's dark. But I do think justice is coming because war crimes have absolutely been committed. And I still can't, I can't talk about them because I don't want to jeopardize anything. And I'm not saying that like a douchebag. Dark things have happened, but I don't, there have been war crimes committed. Absolutely. I'm just thinking about some of the black and white footage I've seen now. Anyway, the war in Ukraine drags on, Ukraine bleeds, and aggressors everywhere take note. For us here in Britain, this hits close to home. The war is not now, it's no longer some distant scrap that we watch on TV. British soldiers are coming back now in body bags, right? They are. That's happening. It's reshaping our security. It's reshaping our energy bills, our alliances, not least with the United States. And here's the reality. As talks inch forward, whether through Donald Trump or European pressure, as we move forward through time, the likelihood of British boots on the ground in Ukraine becomes more and more likely. Either way, it's going to happen. So if you guys can remember back in, God, it seems like a lifetime ago, how much stuff's happened this month? We're not even out of January yet. Think about all the stuff that's happened this month. So if you guys can remember back on the, like early this month, I can't remember when it was, Starmer, Macron, Zelensky. I don't know if Macron was wearing his aviators. I think you should always, listen, I'm going to throw it out there. I don't think there should be where are mine? I don't know where mine are. I should wear mine. I don't think there should be a time where it's unacceptable for men to wear aviators. I think in all circumstances, in all walks of life, it should be culturally, spiritually, and economically acceptable for men to wear aviators. But anyway, so it was I want to say like the fifth, or I don't know, but basically they signed this agreement. Starmer, Macron, and Zelensky. It was a declaration. It was like called the Paris Declaration or something. The UK and France committed to deploying troops as part of a multinational force for Ukraine. Now, here's the thing, right? Publicly, they said this was only if a ceasefire or peace deal holds. Now, do we think is anybody under the illusion that nobody has thought about, oh, well, what if that doesn't happen? What if there isn't a ceasefire? What if the Russians keep pushing forwards? Is anybody under the illusion that there are no military plans? Does anybody think that there are just no military plans to deploy boots on the ground if Putin keeps pushing? You see where I'm going with that? Okay, right. We've took Pokrovs. We've took the next village. We've took the next village. You know what? We've took Volodar. We've took Novovalistilka. We've took Pokrovs. Villages. At what point do the Europeans think, oh, yeah, they keep coming now? You see where I'm going now? I don't know where that is. I think that'll be the Dnipro. I think the River Dnipro is the final trigger. But at what point? Do NATO soldiers, the European soldiers, unite and say, yeah, this is coming now? Oh, we've got into Poland. Oh, they're only going into Poland. Oh, they're in the Russian soldiers were only in Przemyśl. Okay, right, they're only in Przemyśl. That's fine. Okay, they're in Rzeszów now. Oh, they're only in Rzeszów. Don't worry, it's only Rzeszów. Okay. Right, they're in Krakow. Oh God, right, they're only in Krakow. Don't worry. Oh God, they're in Warsaw. Right, okay, they're only in Warsaw. Don't worry. You see where I'm going? At some point, there has to be a plan, and I can pretty much guarantee everybody that there will be a plan to deploy boots on the ground with no ceasefire, with no agreement, with no nothing. It will probably happen on a Friday. It will happen quick. And in that context, Keir Starmer won't have to have a vote in Parliament. Anyway, let me continue. So we just spoke about the sorry, I had to lift my roof earlier. It was a faff. I've got a leak. So we just talked earlier about the agreement, the Paris Agreement, Starmer, Macron and Zelensky committing to boots on the ground, but only if a ceasefire is in place. Now, we are talking about military hubs across the country, training bases, protected sites for weapons, air and sea security, regenerating Ukraine's forces so they can stand on their own. That, to me, sounds a little bit hypocritical, right? The Ukrainians have been fighting the Russians for like 12 years. If anyone knows how to fight the Russians, it's the Ukrainians. The British government's already accelerated 200 million as pre-deployment training for the soldiers to go out there. They won't give exact numbers. They say it's operational security. I think that's codswallop. This is ridiculous. Numbers at that level, it's not operational security, but whatever. Estimates floating around are maybe up to 7,500 British troops deployed in Ukraine. Now, 7,500 troops does not mean 7,500 troops. 7,500 troops means 22,500 at a minimum. Okay? We don't have the numbers, all right? We don't have the numbers. If you think our teeth arms, our infantry is like 19,000, where are we going to get these people from? We don't have the numbers. I would like to see the breakdown in those 7,500. What percentage is infantry? What percentage is artillery? What percentage is support? Support staff, cooks, clerks. I don't know what Remsh do. Now, this would be in the mix with the French rotating in and out. Russia calls them legitimate targets if they go in. And the Russians are right. The Russians are absolutely right. If the Russians claim British troops are legitimate targets and British troops go, then the British troops are legitimate targets. That's the reality. That is the absolute reality. But the point here is deterrence. To show Putin that any renewed aggression means facing Western forces on Ukrainian soil. And every time I say Western forces, have you guys seen that it's like a video of European soldiers dancing, doing like really gay dancing. As we move forward, ceasefire talks, Trump and Zelensky aligning on guarantees, Europe finally feeling the heat. This isn't a hypothetical scenario anymore. The path to peace may require force. Of course, nobody's suggesting that, British troops would be fighting a war, but they would be enforcing peace. Look, I've spoke about how ridiculous this, the whole peace enforcement. How do you enforce peace? Can anybody tell me how you enforce peace? Can you enforce peace peacefully? No, you can't enforce peace peacefully. Oh, so what does it mean? It means absolutely nothing. It means war. That's what enforcing peace means. But anyway, we'll go with it because that's what they're saying. Enforcing the peace deal, making sure, right, stop shooting or I'm going to shoot at you. But if you shoot at me, I'll shoot at you. Let's do this. Raven, bring some machine guns. Raven, bring some machine guns and some 50 cals. I got you. What are you doing? We're making sure these people are peaceful. It's ridiculous. It's a heavy ask for our armed forces. We're already stretched thin and we don't have the manpower. We really don't have the manpower. Now, like somebody on the chat said, we can keep Slava Ukraina. People can keep saying it from the sidelines, but the question isn't if British boots touch Ukrainian ground. Right now, it's more of a question of when. And that's where we are, ladies and gentlemen. And this is naturally going to lead to escalation. It's naturally going to lead to mission slip. It's naturally going to lead to conscription. Right, I'm going to jump on the chat, but first, let me go and have a look at my roof over there. Give me a second, because I do have a leaky roof. But ladies and gentlemen, if you're joining for the first time, I am talking about the escalating situation in Europe, the escalating situation in Ukraine. Boots on the ground, British boots on the ground in Ukraine. I'm laying it out for you, the inevitability, and it's going to lead to conscription. And if you've not done so already, please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Right, John is saying, oh yeah, that beer you was making yesterday, how long does it take before you can drink it? Do you know what, John, with your super, I will answer your question. Right, so the other day I did a video, I was making some beer. I made 150 pints or something. Maybe whatever. How long does it take before you can drink it? Well, it's like making beer is an art. It will be fermented in about a week at the right temperature. So 7 days, maybe 8 days, fermenting at the right temperature, which it is. You then have to clear it. So you have to add chemicals to clear it and, you know, to make it clear. You then have to either bottle it or carbonate it. So maybe like shortest flash to bang, maybe 10 days. The very shortest you can do that, and that is with forced carbonation in a keg. So that's in forced carbonation in one of these things, a corny keg. But in 8 to 10 days, I could potentially have 150 pints, which will last me a while. Right, I'm going to get some questions on the chat. Yeah, James Brooke is saying something here. 3 derailment trains. Is it not 4? Is it not 4? But anyway, James Brooke is saying 3 derailment trains in a week in Spain. A lot unalived. What's going on? I don't know. I've seen this. I've not actually looked into it. Guys, can you give me a second? Right, I love this one. Give me a second. Yeah, I think I've done it. I think I've done it. Yeah, I think I've nailed it. Do you know what? The levels of my brilliance absolutely astound me. Every time I think about how brilliant I am, I just get more and more astounded. I lifted my roof from the inside and it seems to have dealt with the leak. Anyway, Googleinos is saying senior officer overseeing this failed 6.3 billion. So just for context, right? 6.3 billion, right? Just for context, 6.3 billion is less than the amount Donald Trump is offering to pay the people of Greenland. Think about that. Just think about that, guys. 6.3 billion is less money than Donald Trump is planning to buy Greenland to give to the people. But the British military have just thrown that up against the wall with the Ajax fighting vehicle, a vehicle that is so sophisticated, so fantastic, so amazing that it can't be used because every time people get in it, they get injured. Phenomenal. Emma Jane Taylor is saying, if we have boots on the ground, we'll be at risk of boom boom. Yes, we will. Years ago, I had a vivid dream that I don't know what WDC is. What Washington DC maybe had a direct hit, and that loads of protests caused a lot of building fires. It was chaos. Right, okay, right. Just quickly, Emma Jane Taylor. I'm not being. Have you ever had any of your vivid dreams like come true? I don't know. Have you ever had them come true? Phoenix is saying it's queer Stalin. I don't know what that means. Millie Mono is saying GB News saying 5th now after a landslide. What does that mean? Am I missing out on something? I think I'm missing out on something. I think I'm missing out on something massive here. April is saying a person has been hit by a train in Manchester, Piccadilly and Stockport as all lines are currently closed. Trains may be delayed for up to 60 minutes. Look, have you seen the amount of people of a certain demographic who are pushing people into train lines? It's sick. It's disgusting. We need to go back to a high trust society. We do. And to go back to a high trust society, we need to get rid of the uncivilized. you know. Mickey Yo-Yo is saying aliens disguised as cactuses. Look, I'm going to go with it. I will go with it. Maybe aliens are cactuses. Who knows? Rod Panhard is saying, are the people of Greenland wise to accept US dollars in the middle of a financial reset? They should demand to be paid in gold. Yeah. No, this is exactly my point, Rod. Right now, we're having a financial reset. So whether Donald Trump pays 100 grand each, 200 grand each, it doesn't matter because those financial structures are all going to get reset, right? So it doesn't really matter. Right, I'm gonna. Oh, hang on. Right, Sean, read Google it. Have I read it? I don't know if I've read it. Oh God. Oh God. Right, let me try and let me get this up. Okay, so we have got breaking news from 15 minutes ago, guys. We've got 15 minutes ago. Let me share this with you really quickly before the ads come on. Before the ads come on, I'll share this quick. Brutal incident live. Man hit in the head with an axe with blood everywhere. Right, I'm going to stop sharing. With one local describing the horror of there being blood everywhere. I don't like that image, guys. I don't like the sight of blood. There is currently a large police cordon in place at Bootle Strand Shopping Centre, with emergency services rushing to the scene and closing off large parts of the city centre. A number of shops and restaurants are inside the cordon. Merseyside police said, around 5:45 no, sorry, I shouldn't do that, right? Merseyside police said at around 5:45 p.m. Officers were called to Stanley. No, officers were called to Stanley Road to reports of a man being assaulted and sustaining lacerations to his head and face caused by a bladed weapon. The victim has been taken to hospital for an assessment. Yeah, you reckon? And inquiries are ongoing to trace the offenders. The offenders. Not offender, offenders. Right, let me see if I can find anything on X, because normally X gets this... Normally X gets this first, so let me see what I can find on X, and then I'll right. I'm just trying. I'm just looking through here, guys. Give me 2 minutes. Well, no, not 2 minutes at all. Right, comments of an axe attack. Oh, right, okay. Oh, Jesus Christ! Oh, there's videos of it. Oh my God. Guys, I'm not going to show you the... Jesus! Oh God. Yeah. Oh my... I can't show you these videos, guys. They are absolutely horrific. Oh my God. Okay, so what I'm seeing is a man on a motorbike. There's a motorbike gang. There's a bike gang. There's a guy on the floor, and there's another guy just whacking him with what looks to be. I don't think it is an axe. I don't think it's an axe. I think I've got one. I think it's a garden machete by Fisher's. I think it's a Fisher's garden machete. Jesus. Fuck. He's not dead. But right, look, if you're going to go and look on X, there is videos on X. Jesus. I don't know if that's the video, what I've just seen. I'm not going to show it. I'm absolutely not going to show it. Like I said, that may or may not be the video. Somebody's claiming that's the video. I don't know if that is the video. Right, I can't find anything else. Okay, I'm just scrolling down now. That may not be the video, actually. Maybe I've just watched an axe attack video for nothing. Hang on. Right, this is confusing. I don't actually. I keep researching this and I can't find. I don't know. Maybe that wasn't the video. But there's a gruesome video from an attack, I think, in Bootle. I don't know when it was. I'm just researching different names now. Okay, so all that's out I can't find anything on social media right now. But all that is out is, there's very limited out at the moment about this incident. So I'm just going to leave it for there for now. Nobody's even commenting on the images that are out there. Oh, hang on. Nobody's even commented. So what we do know is that there has been an attack from the mainstream media. That's all I'm going to leave it now, guys, okay? Brutal incident live. Man hit in the head with an axe. Blood everywhere. We're just going to leave it there until more information gets out. So I don't want to get done for fake news anymore. Right. Let me jump down. What's this apparent alien sighting at Guildhall? Oh, right. I'm going to have to come on to that later. Sean, read Andrew Rubin's post. Right, let me go back to Andrew Rubin's post. 6 stabby in oh, God. It's just all the fucking time, isn't it? All the time. Those Norwegian fishermen. Those cursed Norwegian. Those Norwegian fishermen. Right, let me get this up. Right, 6. Jesus Christ, what the fuck's happening? Right, I'll get this up as well. 30 minutes ago, literally 30 minutes ago. I'll share this with you guys. Absolutely. What's happening right now? Have all the sleeper cells just been activated? Guys, have the sleeper cells just been activated? Right, I'll share this with you. Thank you for that, Andrew Rubin. Mass stabbing attack at protest in major European city leaves 6 injured after group pulled out knives in pure chaos. 6 people, and this is from today at 8:05. So obviously, I'd already been on the live stream 10 minutes. I had no way to see this. Stabbing frenzy, mass stabbing attack at protest in major European city leaves 6 injured. Group pulls out knives in pure chaos. The frenzy happened at a protest near the busy square of, I can't pronounce that word, on Thursday evening. The stabbing unfolded during a Kurdish demonstration on Opera Square, where Kurdish and PKK flags were being waved. So, so the Kurdish and the Muslims, they don't really get on. They don't get on. Around 50 protesters were present, so not even a big protest. And police were already on site. Can they not just go back to their own countries? Honestly, with all due respect, right? With all due respect and with all sympathy to German people, I mean the real German people, like the real German people who almost took over the world, like the real Germans, like who hail from Viking blood. Like, can they not just go home? Can they not just like, oh, you want to go home? Go home and go protest in Kurdistan. Go protesting. Go back to Kurdistan. You know, as the demonstration was drawing to a close at 7:20 p.m., the situation suddenly escalated. According to police, this was when the stabbings took place, prompting officers to intervene immediately while calling in emergency medical teams. Images from the scene show police officers forcing a suspect to the ground during an arrest. Yeah, whatever. Officers already present at the square were able to administer first aid and yada, yada, yada. I'm not going to read the rest of it, but yeah. What else is happening? Literally, have we literally just had have we just had the jihad call? Has jihad just been activated? And I've just fixed my roof as well. Emma is saying, imagine if we all stabby if we didn't get on. At least us Brits were mostly civilized up until certain things. I think British people are I don't think British people are the most detrimentally civilized people that there are. Until it breaks, until it breaks, and then, Britain, you have not fixed your roof. I may not have fixed my roof, but there's no water coming in and it's raining. So I may not have fixed my roof. Right, let me get back up to, was it Helen's or whose comment did I just write? Right, this is what's going to happen, right? I promise you, this is what's going to happen. Not this year, not next year, but in our lifetime, this is what's going to happen, right? Stabby, rammy, just going to get more and more and more and more until Christians, white Europeans, just say, right, that's it. I've had enough. We're going to deal with this shit. It will get dealt with, and then everybody will be complaining. Everybody will be complaining. And you'll be like, bro, like, can you not remember stabby, rammy? Can you not remember how we used to live in fear? We don't want that anymore. And then you'll get all the new liberals. Oh, everybody's equal. Because they will have forgot. And you get this cycle. The Jollyman is saying BBC News highlight explains how a new mental health problem causes people to randomly fall on knives if people don't believe they're racist. I don't even know what that means. I don't even know what that means. Right, I'm jumping down. Zoe, hang on. Are you allowed to walk around with machetes? If you live in the United Kingdom, I think you are allowed to walk around with machetes as long as it's part of your cultural heritage. No, I don't know the law, guys. Don't quote me on the law. A lot of black guys do carry machetes around with them. We've seen this, and historically this is fact. But young black men, and this was on the Liz Truss show a couple of days ago, and she was saying, or a guest was saying, that young black men account for young black men account for 3% of the population of London. I think that was right. I don't know I don't know what those goalposts of young are. I don't know what that is. But Liz Truss was saying that they also account for 60% of the stabby stuff that's going on. Durton Waters says, I detect a note of sarcasm. Not in me, good sir. Not in me, good sir. Not in me. John Thistlethwaite is saying, Britain helped savages colonize their land, our world, whatever you want to call it, back in the day. Britain actually run a quarter of the globe. We've now gone up. Do you know what's happened, right? Do you know what happens in politics? And I've seen this, right? I've seen this firsthand. Because the way politics is set up, it's very difficult to get into politics if you're not, if you don't have money behind you. And I don't mean like, you know, what I mean is all the rallies you have to go to, all the speeches you have to give, all the little smokers and events you have to go to. If you've got a 9 till 5, it's very difficult to do that. It is. It's very difficult. So, you know, that cuts out a lot of people from going into politics. Do you know who it doesn't cut out? People whose mums and dads are independently wealthy. You know, aristocrats. People who, kids basically, whose mum and dad are rich, they go into politics. Now, the problem with that is, because they've had everything given to them, right? And they've never had to fight it for anything. If you've never had to fight for something, you don't understand its value, right? If you've never had to fight for an enemy trench system, or if you've never had to fight for something, you don't understand how valuable that thing is. Good example, actually. You guys know, like a couple of years ago, I wanted to get some penicillin for my little girl. I had to fight to get that penicillin because the hospitals were ridiculous. I understand how important penicillin is, right? I understand it's, I understand how important it is. If you've always had a doctor, and you can ring him up and say, Charles, I need penicillin. And he comes, oh, yes, and gives you penicillin. You don't really understand the value of penicillin until you've had to fight for it, right? So we have a set of politicians in the United Kingdom and across the West, I think, who've never had to fight for anything, who've never built they've never built a company from scratch. They've never done anything, and they feel guilty about it. They do. They feel guilty about it. And that guilt that they feel is communicated in their policies. Oh, I feel so guilty for having everything given to me. Oh, I'm going to give everything to everyone else. Do you know what? I've had to fight for everything. I don't feel guilty for shit. Sean, have you seen the camps set up in Sherwood Forest? Sent you the video on TikTok. April, I don't know if you was on. I spoke about this. I spoke about this a couple of days ago on here. Actually, I did. I couldn't find the article on the mainstream, but I did speak about this. So April is saying, excuse me. Yes, I have seen them. Basically, right. Here in the United Kingdom, in Sherwood Forest, where the good old Robin Hood used to cruise through, we now have migrants setting up camps, chopping down trees, intimidating locals. Can you guys remember when I said this would happen a while ago? And I actually said that you would have migrants claiming, yes, you would now have migrants claiming parts of Sherwood Forest is their land. They're going to use the adverse possession law in the United Kingdom And I shit you not, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to come to a situation in the United Kingdom where we are giving massive amounts of land to migrants. Oh, you want some land? Here you go. Here you go. Because there's going to be lefty lawyers, isn't there? What's that guy? Ahmed Makoub or whatever his name is. He did a video earlier. And let me see if I can find this. Hang on. Let me see if I can find this. I can't find it. There's a video of this guy, Ahmed Yacoub, and he's running. He shouldn't be threatening anyone because he's got a body. He's got a body like the State Puff Marshmallow Man. He's soft. He's absolutely soft. Honestly, he gives it like 30 seconds. 30 seconds, I would take him to the candy shop. Right, he did a video earlier, right? And he's running on a running machine. And I thought it was really funny because he's running on this running machine. He's running at like 6 kilometers an hour or something, and he's out of breath. And he's talking, and you can tell he's really struggling. I can't find the video. I'm just scrolling down. I've got a picture of F-22. That's definitely not Ahmed. Right, I can't find it. But if you've seen the video, you guys will know what I'm talking about. Lager, mega white thing. Mega white thing. I don't know what that means. Googleinos is saying frostbite in 5 minutes. Half of the US to be hit by a catastrophic storm. Listen, the weather at the moment is bonkers. It really is. And it comes down to this, what's it called? The polar vortex collapsing. You know, my friends in Ukraine, it's just starting to turn now, which means that the Russian tanks could just be starting to turn pretty soon. But yeah, like they've been hit with like minus constantly for maybe a month. You know, maybe a full month of minus 20 temperature Celsius, minus 20 Celsius at nighttime. In the daytime, the average temperature has been like minus 13. So you can imagine how cold that is, guys. Minus 13 going outside, that is really cold. And look, I'll be quite clear. When I used to live in Ukraine, the coldest I witnessed was minus 26. But that was only for like maybe like a week or something, a week, and it was really cold, and then it just started to get warm again. They've had that for like a month now. KTIC is saying, let's do a first meeting in Sherwood and Nottingham and find the sheriff. Listen, I'm just going to throw it out there, right? I think the real hero was the sheriff of Nottingham, right? I think we all have this story, right, of Robin Hood robbing from the rich and giving to the poor. Or was Robin Hood robbing from the rich, robbing from anyone, and paying off the locals not to grass him up? I think the real hero in that story is the sheriff of Nottingham. If I was like Ridley Scott or someone, and I'm not, or Peter Jackson, I would do a new Robin Hood movie, but Robin Hood would be the bad guy and the sheriff of Nottingham would be the good guy. And I would just flip that shit because I think that's what really happened. I don't think there was ever a man called Robin Hood. I think it's just because people got robbed with people wearing hoods, right? Which is what I think is happening in Sherwood Forest right now. I think if you walk through Sherwood Forest at certain times, you know, with these certain camps, you're just going to get robbed. Maybe by a man wearing hoods and puffer jackets. Right, give me a second. I may have not sorted this thing out. Give me a second. Ah! Yeah. 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 Whoever said I've not fixed my roof, you are absolutely right. Whoever said I've not fixed my roof, you was absolutely right. Whoa, hang on a minute. Where's this? In the United States? Jesus. Wind chill is going to take the United States to minus 47, 48. Wow. That is cold, guys. That is really cold. That is absolutely freezing. Right, listen, let's jump back on track, guys, okay? Let's jump back on track. The crux of this live stream, we've been talking about Zelensky's speech today in Davos, the World Economic Forum. This has been a World War III warning, because either way, whatever happens in Ukraine, I do not see a way where British troops are not deployed on the ground. I just don't see a way. If the Russians keep pushing and they get up to the River Dnipro, or at some point, NATO forces or European forces are going to have to say, yeah, we need to deal with this. We've got to go. At some point, that's got to happen. And I've done operational planning at that level, and I can, if this is not being done, I would bet my house and everything that this has already been done. Operational planning, someone at whatever HQ, at whatever London HQ in Whitehall, wherever it is, at the Ministry of Defence, will have made a plan to deploy British troops and when to deploy them, right? And those triggers, let me get the map up. Well, you guys love the map, right? I know you love the map. In fact, let me take that down. And I'll get this map on. So that's what I was looking at earlier. Okay, so you've got Ukraine here, right? You've got the red areas that are occupied territory. And then you've got all the units, yada, yada, yada. I don't believe for 1 second that there is not an operational plan that says, right, if the Russians manage to make it from, I don't know, all the way up to the Dnipro, and I'm just putting that on there for visualization, we're not going to deploy our troops. I don't believe that for 1 second, guys. I don't. It's absurd. It's absolutely absurd to think that. We're all being told that the only way that British boots on the ground it will be in to enforce peace. Does that make sense to anyone? To enforce peace, right? So let's give this scenario right now, okay? Scenario 1, right? Scenario 1: the peace deal has happened today, right? Tomorrow, the peace deal happens, right? British boots on the ground in Ukraine, and the British are conducting patrols right here. In fact, no, right here. And they come across the 71st Separate Battalion of Special Forces. We are 71st Separate Battalion of Russian Special Forces. All right? So the British military come up against the 71st Battalion, right? The 71st Battalion see the British military, right? And they start shooting at them. Okay? To enforce that peace, the British military have to start shooting back. So guess what? Now you've got a gunfight going on right here. You've got a gunfight going on. These guys are shooting at... In fact, can I get a little marker? See if I can get a little marker. Yeah. So you've got British forces here now, right? and they are shooting. They're in a full out contact with these guys here, right? And they are fighting with each other now. So but don't worry, this is a peaceful fight. This is a peace fight. The British forces, they are fighting for peace. But then the Russians, right? The Russians on the other side, they say, "Нет, we don't want this. We call our neighbor." So they call in the 30th separate motorized rifle brigade, and those guys, they do a flanking move. So these guys on the separate motorized rifle brigade, because they're motorized, they come round here and come in from a flank. They come in from a flank like that, and all of a sudden, don't worry, we are not fighting World War III. We are just enforcing many levels of negotiated peace. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Any way you look at this, right? It's ridiculous. You can't enforce peace. You can't. You can't enforce. Like, how do you enforce peace? Because if you have to enforce something by force, it's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. Andy is saying maybe Wagner Group will drop in. The Wagner Group, they are like, my friend came across some of them in Africa, and he just thought they were like skinny young lads. That's what he thought. Does Wagner even exist? I don't know. I don't think it's as relevant as it was. I don't think it's. I think there are many other companies in Russia, and I just think it's like if you're in Britain. If you're in Britain and somebody mentions special forces in Britain, everybody says SAS. Oh, it's SAS, it's SAS. It's not. There are a shit ton of special forces units in Britain, in the United Kingdom, but everybody just says it's SAS. So I think you get the same thing here. If it's a private... If it's a private military or, operating for the Russians, I think people just say it's Wagner Group. Chris is saying the problem is it will escalate to thermonuclear war, which Russia has 6,000 of them and missiles to deliver them. Okay, so I'm just going to manage everybody's expectations with this. Maybe that's the case, or maybe the Russians don't have any. Keeping nuclear weapons and keeping I always say this, what's it called? Tritium. I've got a little bit of experience with tritium. So I do know what I'm talking about with tritium. But tritium has a half-life of, I think it's 7 years, or is it 14 years? Whatever. I think it's 7 years. So it's half as potent as it was when it was produced in 7 years. So that means, and I don't know what potency tritium needs to be, but I know that tritium is used in nuclear weapons. But tritium needs to be renewed every so often. Now, tritium is $40,000 per gram. Now, that's expensive. That is very expensive. So I would speculate that the Russians don't have the money and the capacity to continue all of their nuclear weapons, right? Because that is a big bill. I'm not saying they don't have nuclear weapons. I think that, of course, they do. But the 6,000, it may be the case that it may be like saying, I've got a scrapyard garage. I've got 6,000 cars, but only 5 of them with engines and gearboxes and fuel tanks. You know what I'm going, right? Damned is saying Azov. So Damned Doberman Company is saying Azov in Skrillex. That's how you say Azov in that's how you write Azov in Skrillex. In Russian or Ukrainian. I don't know what that means. Googleinos is saying UN-backed force in Haiti to deploy fully by summer amid political turmoil. We forget what's happening in Haiti, right? Honestly, like when I went down this rabbit hole a while ago, I think like the summer of last year, maybe before, I started to look at these dark practices that absolutely happen in the world. I'm talking about like really satanic stuff. Let me get you a mainstream media. Let me get you something up mainstream media here. I think this is a yeah. So I'm not gonna right, guys. Let me share this with you. Right. So what what Googleinos is saying there? He's talking about Haiti, right? I went down a rabbit hole, and everything was pointing to Haitian voodoo. I promise you. I fucking promise you. Everything was pointing to Haitian voodoo. Everywhere I went, it was all coming back to Haitian voodoo. Some wild practices. Now, let me share this with you guys because listen, look, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to close the live stream off now, please go because this is going to get dark. Okay, this is going to get dark. All right, I'm going to share this article with you. Now, this is from the BBC. All right, this is from the BBC, 21st of September, 2021. The Torso in the Thames, a 20-year mystery. So it's not being solved, okay? Nobody knows what happened, okay? I'm just going to highlight this. I'm not going to read it. Can you guys see that? I don't know if you guys can see that. Can you guys read that, what I just highlighted? If you can read it, it's very dark, all right? Now, if you look, if you look into a lot of this stuff, it just, okay, right. No, you can't read it, right? No, you can't read it. Yeah, I know the BBC is to be avoided, but if I share the BBC, I don't get flagged for fake news or anything. And I totally understand, the contradictory statement I've just made. So, I will read this, but I will leave out, I'm going to read that bit there. I'm going to read that. Okay, right. I'm going to read that bit there, but I'm going to leave out keywords, okay? It's the longest unsolved child transcending to light case in the recent history of the Metropolitan Police. 20 years ago, a young African boy was in a brutal ritual. This bit was removed. This bit was removed. This bit was removed. And those things you walk on, they were removed. And the rest of him was dumped in the Thames. It was discovered I remember when this happened, actually, on the 21st of September, 2021. Now, you go and read into this. Go and read into this yourselves. But like Googleinos is saying there, people forget the dark stuff that has happened in Haiti's past. Do you guys know what happened in Haiti? Let me Google this. Go and look, right, what happened, and it's fucking dark. Go and look what happened in Haiti. It was called the Haitian Revolution. Go and look how dark the Haitian Revolution was, guys. It was like really bad. Really bad. Right, listen, ladies and gentlemen, it's that time. Theodore is saying it. Yeah, black magic, some real dark shit. Some real dark shit's been going down. Yeah, you're all on it, guys. You are Danielle Tuddenham. Is that a real name, Tuddenham, or is that short for, like, I don't know. Right, listen, guys, I'm going to close this down. I am going to close this down. Holly is saying voodoo is dark. It is, guys, and a lot of it stems from Haiti, unfortunately, and a lot of bad stuff is happening in Haiti. Right, listen, ladies and gentlemen, you guys have been fantastic. If you are on right now and you've not liked, followed, subscribed, whatever the buttons down there are, please blast that out there. Please blast that out there, guys, because, you know, it really helps me out when you guys do that. I'll be back on tomorrow morning at 10 after my gym session. And look, I'm not going to lie. This is absolutely killing me, this gym session. Doing 2 sessions a day, it's really blasting me. It really is. It's absolutely... It is. It's absolutely killing me. But I've got tomorrow to do, morning and afternoon session, and then I'm going to be good then for a while. I just needed to kick that weakness out of my body. I did. I needed to kick that weakness out of my body. Blunted is saying, oh, I missed the show. Blunted, you did. You missed the show. I do apologize. No, I don't apologize. You know I'm on. You know what time I'm on, right? You guys know what time I'm on. Listen, I bid everyone good night. I do. I've got a leaky roof. I've got the bucket there to prove it. I'm going to have to get up there with some, like, fiberglass or something. You can do 1, you can do 2. Right. Right, I'll be back on in the morning, guys. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Thank you for the super chats, and I will see you guys in the morning.